Welcome to another episode of the Thanalysis show with your one and only Thanasis Antetokounmpo, presented by Gruber Law, Car Bliss, and Potawatomi Hotels and Casino. Thank you guys so much for supporting, for liking, sharing the show. You guys have been amazing. But you know, today I have a great person today, and we're gonna talk so much basketball, so much about the sports, and a little bit of the US and the world in general. But you know, I gotta give him the intro. Brian Windhorst.
You have your voice, you've got a good voice. You picked the wrong sport. You picked the wrong profession, I think.
So wait, I have seen, first of all, I want to say one thing. I want to say the story before we start the podcast. During the Olympics. I don't even know if you knew it was me. You're in the bridge above the river, and you're doing the show, and and I'm with the bicycle, and I go through and I see you. And whenever I see somebody I've seen so much in the States, and I see them overseas, I always like, oh hey Brian, and I yell. I don't know if you remember, and you're like, you had the mic, and you're like, who's this guy yelling now with the bike?
That's right by the arena.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff going on in Paris. It was all good, but there was a lot of distractions happening. So I'm sorry if I didn't. I should have invited you over and brought you on. That would
no. I just wanted to say hi because it's always nice to see you guys out there and to kind of see you guys in our in our element. Like, this is where we're from. Me and the family. We usually, when the season's done, we go back home and enjoy.
Yes, but I've seen you overseas many times. You haven't always known it, but in Abu Dhabi, in the Philippines, I was watching your games. Greece playing the U.S. in the World Cup last summer. I guess 2 summers ago now.
Okay,
you played in that game.
So wait, this is what I want to ask you. How long have you been going to FIBA games? Since
My
when?
first FIBA experience was in 2006 in Japan.
In
For
Japan.
the World Championships, which was the famous moment for all of Greek basketball, when the Greeks beat the Americans in. You were just a small kid, but the Greeks beat the Americans in the semifinals.
Amazing. This is one of the reasons we started playing basketball, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of Greeks. After that moment, it was like basketball was like we wanted to make basketball our number one sport. Everybody loves football and soccer like back home, but like we wanted to make basketball our number one sport. And watching, we're going Baby Shaq, like Sophocles,
Sophocles, Theo Papaloukas, Vasilius Spanoulis worked those Americans over. Shot like, I don't know what they ended up shooting, but they shot like 65%. LeBron was shell-shocked, couldn't do anything. Chris Paul was shell-shocked. Papaloukas was a 6'7". He was like probably, I don't know, in my memory, he was like 35. He might have been younger.
Yeah.
He was like, literally gray beard, Chris Paul. He just worked Chris Paul over. Worked him over. Krzyzewski is over there coaching. He can't stop. He doesn't know the players' names. He's like, what about number 7? What about number 11? And number 7 was Theo Papaloukas, who was working the Americans over. And I was there 2006. I was young. I was in my 20s, but I was there.
You know what's so funny too is that this is our version of the story, right? Our version of the story was that Team USA came into play, and Team USA was so much based on the one-on-ones, the athleticism, the run and gun, the first transition, fast break, etc. And that's when the whole basketball was changing towards pick and roll. Yeah. And Greece, this is not over exaggeration. I'll tell you, like, it's 3 schools of European. 3 schools, right? It's the first school of Spain, up and down, boom, 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 threes on the first transition offense, threes, this, that. Then it's just Serbians who will shoot from the womb. They know how to shoot. They learn how to shoot.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's Greeks, pick and roll, pick and roll and post, and pick and roll and post, and pick and roll.
Yes, sir. Kicked the Americans' ass in pick and roll. So what happens that year, it was Krzyzewski's first year coaching the team. The Americans had lost in Athens. They bring in Krzyzewski. He's going to change everything, okay? LeBron's there. Carmelo's there. Dwayne Wade's there. Dwayne Wade has just won the championship. Mm-hmm. And Krzyzewski puts Jim Boeheim on his staff from Syracuse. Well, everybody knows this is the master of zone. In America, who is the master of zone? Jim Boeheim. He's played zone for 40 years at Syracuse. They put him on the staff. We thought, because he was going to have teach the Americans to play zone. And so the first day of practice in Las Vegas, we asked Mike Krzyzewski, are you going to play zone? And he says, anybody who knows anything about me knows I don't play zone. We were like, Jim Boeheim is here, because they made this big thing. We're going to respect the international game, because they lost the 2002 World Cup in Indianapolis, embarrassed, finished 6th place. Lost, I think, twice maybe even 3 times in Athens, get the bronze medal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So now USA Basketball is going to fix their problems. We're going to respect the international game. And Krzyzewski, great coach. Nobody doubts that. But he goes, anybody who knows I don't play zone. Like, I don't know if they respect that international game. So everything's going fine. They get to play the Greeks. The Greeks have big guards.
Big guards, everybody. Diamandidis big guard, Papaloukas big guard, Spanoulis big guard, Nikos Zissis is big guard. All the guards were like 6'4" and above, all of them.
The Americans have small guards. They got Chris Paul and they got Kirk Heinrich are their 2-point guards.
Oh, yes.
Thanasis, Baby Shaq was coming out and leveling those Americans with screens. And they just ran one play over and over and over, and they couldn't stop it. And so what needed to happen, the U.S. needed to play zone because they couldn't handle man-to-man because they couldn't handle the pick and roll. But they didn't practice zone. They weren't ready to play zone.
I got a question. Was Dwight on that team too?
I don't think so.
No, huh?
You know
Who
what?
was their bigs? Who were their bigs?
Brad Miller was on the team. That was an interesting decision.
Can you check that, Tony, when you get a chance?
Chris Bosh was on the team.
Yeah, because I'm like thinking like, okay, who's your zone anchor? Because always in a zone you need a big body in the middle.
It's a very good question. I don't remember exactly, but I will tell you this. So the next year, the Americans had to play in the tournament in Las Vegas to qualify for the Olympics because they didn't qualify for the Olympics. They got to get to Beijing, so they got to play in this Olympics. They were supposed to play that tournament in Venezuela. As soon as they lost in Japan, they're like, no, it ain't going to be in Venezuela. It's going to be in Las Vegas. They yanked it out of Venezuela. First game, first possession. They were playing zone defense.
Zone defense.
Because they knew. But I'm going to tell you, talking about the Serbians and all that and the Spanish, back then the kings of the world were the Argentines.
Argentina.
They played this incredible style of basketball. Now, this is the golden generation. This is Manu Ginobili, Fabricio Oberto, Luis Scola, Carlos Delfino.
Andres was good.
Andreas Nocioni. Like all these NBA players, okay? So they are the Olympic champions. They hadn't lost in several years. So it is the semifinals. The Americans are playing the Greeks in one semifinals. Spain is playing against Argentina in the other semifinal. The Spain-Argentina game is first. The Americans and Greeks are sitting there watching. Just like the NCAA tournament, you're sitting there watching. So it's down all the way to the last minute. The game is tied with... Now, I am 26 years old. This is my first FIBA international event, okay? Everything is different and new to me. The trapezoid lane was still going on back then. All right. So the game is tied. Spain has the ball. There is 25 seconds left on the clock. And Argentina comes out, fouls, on purpose, fouls to put Spain on the line.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's a tie game. Why'd you foul?
Yes.
I'm looking around to the people who are sitting with the media and nobody's reacting. Nobody's I was like, this is an incredible, terrible mental mistake.
Yes.
No, this is the European style. They will foul. I mean, even though Argentina's South America, but they play the European style, FIBA style. They wanted to control their own destiny.
Yes.
So Spain, I don't remember who made it, probably Rudy Fernandez or something, but 2 free throws. So now Argentina has the last possession. They call timeout. They set up a 3 to win the game. Ball goes to Nocioni in the corner. He gets a clean shot off. No good. Spain wins. Spain is celebrating. That game, Pau Gasol broke his foot, by the way. Oof. So it's a bad loss for Spain, or a bad loss for Argentina without Pau Gasol. Yeah. So the Argentinians are laying on the court, distraught, because now they are out. They can't win the gold. And I'm like, dudes, why did you foul? But like I was the one because nobody thought it was crazy. It was just standard,
It's
strategy.
different now. Now it's kind of different. It's what you're saying kind of now. It's becoming like, it depends on the coach now. But before,
that was crazy.
It was always, first of all, if you're up, you foul. That doesn't matter if it's 20, especially 20 seconds. You always foul in Europe. But because you wanted 2 free throws or the ball.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of different. Now it's more personalized from coach to coach. Some coaches like, we're going to play defense. Or some coaches now in Europe be like, hey, we want the ball. I don't care what they do because we still have to score. We're still going to have to score.
I know, but I want to be clear. The game was tied. This is not a 3-point game and you fouled. The game was tied. I was like, what is going on? They just lost the game because they fouled in the tie game. But that was a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
And I got to see the great moment of Greek basketball. So still to this day, when I go back to the Olympics, the Greek media and stuff, I always talk about it because I think they appreciate that there's somebody who's still around who can tell you about Theo
I definitely appreciate it. I have so many questions about that.
Yeah.
Too. So, okay. So you've been in every FIBA competition, right?
Not every. I missed some. But yeah, I've been to the last 5 I've been to.
Were you at the one we did World Cup in China?
Oh, yes, sir. I have something to say about that game.
Were you at the one that we won, but we got disqualified? You know what happened? So we actually won, but got disqualified. We won by 10, but we were supposed to win by 11, and we got disqualified by Czech Republic because we lost from Brazil by 1 point at the.
Well, there's a lot that went on in that. First off, if I was Giannis, I would never have played FIBA basketball again. He had so many bad calls. The last game against Brazil,
it was tough.
he fouled out, and he just won the MVP.
Yes.
He is the best player in the world. He fouls out of this game on a charge that they called a charge.
Yeah.
If this play had happened in the United States in an because it was an elimination game, there would have been a riot. And like, I honestly don't know how he kept his cool. The calls in that game were so bad. I was like, he's never going to, because that happened with Duncan. Tim Duncan was like, forget this. I'm done playing these ridiculous rules. Because, in the international game, it's so much easier to draw a charge.
It was way easier.
But here's the thing. So the Greeks play the Americans the second to last game. Giannis is the MVP, unstoppable player, the best player in the tournament. The Americans have a good team, but not a great team.
Yeah,
like
I think one of the younger guys, right?
Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Good players, but they were still kind of young.
Yeah.
It is like a 10-point game going to the fourth quarter. And the coach sits Giannis. 8 minutes to play, no Giannis. 7 minutes to play, no Giannis. I'm like, when is number 34 going back on the floor? And he never played him. And here's the thing about the Greek media. I like the Greek media because they ask tough questions.
They are ruthless.
They ask tough questions to the American coaches. Like, if they're not even involved in the game, because they only allow the American media to ask so many questions. But then they'll let someone from Greece, and Greece will ask a tough question. So I'm like, excuse me, my friends. What about Giannis? It's a 10-point game. It's not a 30-point game. It's a 10-point game. You can still win the game. You have Giannis. And the coach says, we had to save him for the next game because we have to beat Brazil by a certain amount of points. So we save him for Brazil.
Czech Republic. Yeah. That's
or Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And I go, excuse me, you have the number 1 player. Why don't play to win? Play to win the game. If you beat the U.S., it's a great win. Play to win.
Great win.
You play Giannis all the way to the end. The Greek media had no problem with it. They didn't like. They're like, no, the coach is correct. I'm like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about? And of course, Giannis is not talking to the media. He didn't talk to the media the entire time in China. He's like, I am talking to these guys.
He did. Okay, so so crazy, right? That you learn this like 2 or 3 years coming into professional sports because professional sports here is not like overseas. Like overseas, it's not so much media. But the sport is so much built here, the product through media and through everything. So then you learn 3 years in, like, oh, okay, I do need to talk to media. I do need to show who I am, and they ask tough questions. They ask the questions, and it's okay. It's part of the what comes with it. But in Greece, it's so hard. Like now, looking back in their heads, if they knew we was not gonna beat Czech Republic by 12, 11 that we needed, They were like, let's beat Team USA. Let's beat Team USA, obviously. But
number one player in the world, right there. Play him. But here's the thing: like generally in Europe, okay, they don't focus on money
at all.
And like, for example, Greece has killer gear. The gear for their basketball team, awesome. First off, that gear should be on sale here. You should be able to buy Giannis. You can a little bit.
But more stuff, I know.
Giannis Greece jerseys are awesome. All Greece, they're awesome.
Yeah.
The Greek jerseys are awesome. They're made by Nike.
Yeah.
It's not like it's made by some obscure brand. They should get them. You can't get gear. It's hard to get gear. You can't buy gear.
Because they want to sell them. They don't sell them.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't do media because they hate the media or whatever, and they see it as an adversary. They don't understand that grows the game, which means more money. Like, like Jokic. Jokic, he hadn't talked to the media for like 5 years when it comes to the Serbian national team. I mean, he's very polite.
Yeah.
We ask him, and he just goes, "Not today, my friends," and he just keeps on walking. And
that's Nikola. That's him.
The coach, the Serbian coach, he does speak English, but he won't answer questions. He had no interest in the Serbia and the U.S. played 3 games this summer, and they played in the.
I think it was friendly group stage, and then
the big one.
The big one.
The big one. No questions in English. He's just not talking. Like, okay, whatever. I'm just saying,
no questions,
there's a lot of English-speaking basketball fans who are interested in what was going down, but money is not the factor. Money is not at first.
Which is ultimately it's a bad thing though, right? Because that's what you want to grow the business, and that's why the model of EuroLeague is changing now. If you notice it, we're going to the salary cap. They're changing the teams, more teams. Middle East is coming into play now, Dubai BC, and who knows. So I think they have to start doing the media, but they'll have to have I feel like the way it's gonna happen is that, and obviously it's a hard thing to say, but I think ESPN should go and make a move and go and say, hey, exclusively. And because what's gonna happen then is gonna make. I know you're traveling a lot already, but it's gonna.
Well, no, I mean my thing is the basketball in Europe is awesome.
Yeah.
But the business is bad.
Yeah, they're gonna make Brian and the guys go and travel, go to the final of EuroLeague.
Well, here's the problem. The problem is this: the money for NBA, the money for new basketball investment is in the Middle East, which is complicated. I know you spent a bunch of time there. You've been to Abu Dhabi several times, right? With the Bucks and with Greece.
Yeah, and with Greece and with the Bucks and business and stuff like that. Yeah.
The money is in the Middle East. They want to invest in basketball. But there's no fans in the Middle East. I mean, it's just not that much people.
Yeah.
The fans are in China. That's the biggest fan base in the world. But the basketball there is terrible. Yeah, bad basketball. Fans, no basketball. Middle East, money, no fans. Europe, players.
Tons of basketball.
No money for the teams. Because obviously Europe has money for soccer. No teams. Or teams, but no money.
Wow.
We have to come together.
Yeah.
We need the Chinese fans with the Middle Eastern money and the European players. In the NBA is where that's happening.
Exactly,
except for the Middle Eastern money.
I like that. That's great. Actually, the way you dissected it's amazing. Actually,
because I've been all over the world. I've been to China. I've been to Asia to see how they care about the fans in the Philippines.
Yes.
Crazy, right? Insane.
Amazing. I was surprised. I was talking with Bobby Portis about this because I would hang out with Bobby a lot during the 2 weeks, and it was so surprising. It was we couldn't get if you go out, you would have to. It would be like a glass of people. This whole window would be people just Thanasis, Bobby, packed. So to me, I see how much they love, and they're so polite. But
that's the thing. The Filipino fans are so big into fans that. Obviously Bobby Portis goes anywhere in Milwaukee, he's known. But if Bobby Portis was in...
But it's the NBA too. They love the NBA
I know, but if Bobby Portis was in Idaho or whatever, nobody would recognize him. But in Manila, he can't go anywhere. Yeah. You can't go anywhere. They know everybody.
I remember they would say our name or say they would go crazy in the stadium. Oh my God.
Exactly.
So I do think all this like fan base, they deserve to watch the games. And now, obviously, it happens with the NBA is doing a great job with the global games and trying to whatever, whoever pays more or whatever it might be, you go out there. But okay, apart